Jan Blachowicz just got robbed is a statement that I would be making if I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I just want to say this, guys. My initial reaction to this fight, and hear me out, was this is a draw. It should have been a draw. The first round is a 10-8 for Jan Blachowicz. The last two rounds are for Alex Pereira. And I'm going to get this out of the way. If you were to tell me that Alex Pereira were to win a fight by decision against Jan Blachowicz, even though he were to get taken down twice in the first two rounds, especially at the beginning of those rounds, I would have called you a fool, but he did it, which proves that he is a complete MMA fighter that has the ability to beat guys that can grapple. So he just put a lot of questions to bed with this performance. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but let me just talk about how it should have been scored. And the truth is, Pereira won the fight. Guys, think about the first round. I was saying it's a draw. 10-8 for Jan Blachowicz until someone reminded me of this when the fight was over. I think it was even after the Poirier and Gaethje fight. Bedtime MMA, another MMA YouTuber, was saying, bro, remember, Alex Pereira was threatening with submissions. I thought this dude was joking around in my chat. I thought he was just bullshitting around. I'm like, haha, submissions. And then I'm starting to think, wait a second. The first minute of the first round, Alex Pereira was catching Jan in a guillotine on the feet. He was attempting to strangle Jan Blachowicz. And I was thinking back to the moment in which I was watching, and I was actually worried that Jan was going to get subbed. I was saying, no way. Is Jan about to get subbed here? And I'll show you guys the moment in which I was reacting to this on my live stream. On the single leg. And Pereira's got the neck of Jan right now in the clinch, but Jan is still on the single leg. Whew, we're going to find out a lot, bro. My heart is beating fast. Needs to be careful about Pereira choking him out. Pereira's going for a guillotine. No way. No, is he not? He's not going to choke him out. And guys, therefore, since Jan Blachowicz had to get out of a submission attempt, and even though he took Pereira down and controlled him and got the body lock and threatened with submissions of his own and had the face crank, the neck crank, he didn't get anything going with ground and pound. He didn't do a lot of damage. And the only way you could make that a 10-8 round is if the entire round from pillar to post was one-way traffic, in which it wasn't. There was about a minute in which Alex Pereira, although he was defending a takedown, had the neck of Jan Blachowicz, was threatening a submission, and it provoked some worry amongst the viewers. It provoked some worry amongst people that were watching the fight, and therefore, I believe it's a 10-9 round. And if it's a 10-9 round, the only way you could give it a draw is by giving Jan Blachowicz a 9-9 round in another one. We don't really see a lot of 9-9 rounds. Alex Pereira outstruck Jan Blachowicz in the second round, outstruck him in the third. He should be the winner. My take has changed. Alex Pereira wins the fight. And when it comes to the third round, yeah, it was damn near close, but it wasn't close enough to the point to where we could sit here and say that it was even, okay? Alex Pereira, in my opinion, probably landed a good, solid 7 or 8 clean, significant strikes more than Jan Blachowicz. And Jan Blachowicz got a takedown at the last 42 seconds of the round. And that would normally mean something if the strikes were dead even, but that wasn't the case at all. Okay, the strikes were not dead even. Alex Pereira was ahead, maybe not washing Jan out. That's not what was happening. It was close. But if you do nothing with a 40-second moment on the ground, if you don't do anything with it, it means nothing. Okay, unless the striking is dead even, that 40 seconds of control time doesn't do shit for you. And now I'm going to get to how impressive it is overall. Remember, everyone's saying, including myself, if Jan Blachowicz gets the takedown early, when both of them are dry, he's going to be too much for Alex Pereira. He's going to overwhelm him. And he actually kind of looked like he was on his way to doing that. But in the second round, Jan Blachowicz takes Alex Pereira down again, and Pereira just gets back to the fence and gets up to his feet like it's nothing. And now Jan had a couple of minutes of control time down there, but ultimately Pereira got back up and stuffed all of the takedowns from there on out for the rest of the fight. But I just want to give Alex Pereira credit for finally proving himself as a competent, well-rounded MMA fighter that has the ability to keep fights standing against guys that have the ability to shoot a takedown, that have shown to be able to go out there and out-grapple high-level strikers with good takedown defense like Jan Blachowicz and his ability to go out there and do it against Izzy back in the day. What Alex Pereira just did is incredible. And if you're going to think about the light heavyweight division, there aren't that many high-level grapplers at the top anymore with Glover Teixeira retiring. The only guy that's left in the top 5 is Magomed Ankalaev. The rest of the guys we're talking about are Yuri, Jamal Hill. We're talking strikers. Alexander Rakic can mix it up, but he's not really been able to prove that he's that much of a better grappler than Jan Blachowicz. And even though Jan is older, that guy still has the threat of the takedown on the feet. He's still one of the best strikers in the game. I myself have listed Jan as a top 4 striker in MMA. Alex Pereira, with the threat of the takedown, after getting worn down early, getting the wind taken out of his sails, although he didn't KO Jan Blachowicz, he still outstruck him and won the fight clearly. And another thing that really shocked me was that Alex Pereira won the leg kick battle. We've all ranted and raved about the leg kick battle leading up to this fight. Jan Blachowicz is one of the best leg kickers in UFC history. But guess what? There was a big welt on his leg. And the only man that looked visibly affected by leg kicks in this fight was Jan Blachowicz. And he was on the receiving end of those perfect technique, zero telegraph leg kicks from Alex Pereira. And now it's clear that Alex Pereira is the best leg kicker in MMA. I know that people are going to be shitting on this decision, shitting on the fact that it was close, shitting on Pereira for not KOing Jan Blachowicz, But this is actually, if you really think about it, one of the best ways he could have won. He showed takedown defense. He showed competency on the feet against a guy that has the threat of the takedown, who's threatening the takedown as soon as the fight starts. And he showed to be able to out leg kick the best leg kicker in the upper weight class history, which is crazy if you think about it. We saw the most well-rounded Alex Pereira we could have ever expected, and for that reason, we have to say this guy's fucking legit. He's real, and I believe that he's going to become a world champion. Another thing that I want to mention is the size of Alex Pereira. He made Jan Blachowicz look tiny, even in the first round when Jan was on his back, when Jan was the one that was supposed to be looming over him in his dominant position. Pereira looked like he was a heavyweight with a middleweight on his back. And Jan Blachowicz is actually a pretty decently sized light heavyweight, a very thick guy. When Pereira walked out, that's when it really hit me, because all week people have been talking about how big Alex is. And to be fair, I haven't really been all that impressed. Of course, he's always going to be a massive guy. He's 6'5". I don't actually think he's 6'4". He's probably a tall 6'4", or at least 6'5". But I just thought, okay, this is an Alex Pereira that looks like he's in the offseason. Nothing crazy until you see him walk out, until you see him, step into the cage, and he's just towering over the octagon, and you see him in comparison to Jan Blachowicz. A lot of people move up a weight class, and they have 20 pounds of bloat, and that's kind of it. And they just look like a fatter version of themselves. But Pereira genuinely looked enormous. His legs looked 3 times the size that they were at middleweight. And I was saying this when he was walking out. Bro, this guy looks like he could fight Cyril Gane right now. He looks like a big, tall heavyweight out there. And so now Alex Pereira is not only one of the biggest light heavyweights that there is, he's the highest level light heavyweight striker. He outstruck the best light heavyweight striker in the game, outkicked the best kicker in the game as well, the best leg kicker, not the best kicker in general, but you kind of understand my point. Outkicked him. Jan Blachowicz didn't check any kicks. How crazy is that? We were all talking about the leg checking of Jan Blachowicz, the leg kick checking. I didn't see any of it because Alex Pereira's kicks are so fucking fast. They're so untelegraphed. Even when he was tired in the second and third round, he was whipping kicks out there, even body kicks, looking lightning fast. And it's now this guy is not only enormous, but he's proven for the first time in his career to defensively grapple against a high-level experienced guy like Jan Blachowicz, who has used his grappling to win fights at the highest level, which is insane. So we now have Alex Pereira for the first time in his UFC run where we're not really going to be questioning his grappling that much moving forward. If he fights Magomed Ankalaev in his next bout, let's say they make that for the title, which I don't really want to see Magomed fight for the title. Even though I like Magomed Ankalaev, I'll get excited to watch him fight no matter what. It's that's not a huge fight. It's not a big fight. I'd rather see Alex Pereira versus someone like Yuri Prohaska, even if he has to wait some extra time. But back to my point. If he were to fight Magomed Ankalaev next, I'm not going to be saying to myself, yeah, but if he gets taken down, the fight's over. I don't think so. Magomed Ankalaev might be a slightly better grappler than Jan Blachowicz offensively, but it's not like he's leaps and bounds ahead of him. You know what I mean? It's not like Magomed Ankalaev's been submitting people left and right, been TKOing people on the ground left and right. He TKO'd Anthony Smith, but that's Anthony fucking Smith. All right? Whereas if you were to ask me before tonight, Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira, who wins this fight, I would confidently tell you that Magomed would be too much for him on the ground. And now we kind of have this idea of Alex Pereira being a pretty good defensively sound grappler that can get up to his feet. I was shocked by his ability to get put on his back. All right, I expected him to be looking like a fish out of water on his back. And he just scoots back to the fence and gets up, taking no damage. Like, don't get me wrong, the first round, Jan Blachowicz dominated it by getting the back, but in the second round, he got taken down. This was Jan's safest position. When Jan took him down, I picked Jan to win the fight by a submission or TKO on the ground. When Jan got him down in the second, I was actually going crazy. I was getting pretty hyped. I was like, bro, this is Jan's best position. He can ride out the rest of the round here, even if he doesn't get the finish. He had his hands locked around Pereira. He had him in a strong position. And Pereira gets up, gets right back up to his feet. No issue. Took him a minute max, and then just gets back to striking and starts stuffing takedowns and starts landing hard jabs on Jan Blachowicz, starts out kicking him. I thought it was really, really crazy to watch, honestly, because Pereira impressed me. And therefore, I think this guy is going to be a champion at light heavyweight. He's 36 years old, which, is not young, but at the end of the day, Jan Blachowicz was champ at 38. You know what I mean? Glover Teixeira was champ in his 40s. DC was champ in his very late 30s in the light heavyweight division, and then champion in his 40s at heavyweight. So Pereira, when it comes to being a light heavyweight, actually has some youth on his side in comparison to some of the other champions that we've had recently. Of course, excluding young Jamal Hill and young Yuri Prohaska. Jan Blachowicz is out of the equation, and Alex Pereira now is going to be fighting strikers for the most part, unless the UFC gives Magomed Ankalaev a massive opportunity to fight for a belt. And given that the last one didn't go so well for Magomed, I don't think they're going to do that. We're probably going to see Pereira versus Yuri. We're probably going to see Pereira versus Jamal Hill. And I need to say this, although Jan Blachowicz is a very high-level striker that can mix it up and that can grapple better offensively than Yuri and Jamal, I don't think he's in his prime anymore. Because he's lost a little bit of his speed, he doesn't have the ability to hit as hard as he did in 2019, 2020, and 2021. And I think that Yuri Prohaska hits a lot harder than Jan at this point. If Yuri lands a flush right hand on Alex Pereira, if he lands a flush right hand on anyone, they could go to sleep. Don't believe me? Watch Yuri Prohaska's highlight tape. It is ridiculous. Probably has the best highlight reel in all of MMA when it comes to just flatline KOs. Yuri could bring anyone into a 50-50 fight. He's got a very awkward style, and that could be hard for a classically trained kickboxer like Alex Pereira. But Pereira could also catch him with the left hook. Yuri's been dropped before. Yuri almost got KO'd by Dominic Reyes with an up kick. Got rocked badly, almost finished. And I'm talking about almost out of there completely by Glover in his last fight. I just can't wait to see it. But all I have to say is this. He is going to make those guys look small too. Jamal Hill, another interesting matchup, but he doesn't have the craziest power in the world. And we saw Alex Pereira take some shots. I think he's kind of answered some questions. Jan Blachowicz didn't just KO Pereira with the first couple of hooks that he landed. Pereira was not affected at all. The only guy that was getting rocked here and there was Jan by the jab of Pereira. Pereira's got a nasty piston-like jab. So, very impressed with Alex Pereira. I do have to give credit to Jan Blachowicz. He made it a close fight. He didn't just get bulldozed on the feet. Even when he was tired, even when he was gassed, he held his ground and proved to be durable and is still a high-level striker. What did you guys think of this fight? Who do you think Alex Pereira is going to fight next? And do you think he beats Yuri Prohaska? Because I certainly think he's got a good chance to do that. And when it comes to his matchups with anyone in the future that has the ability to level change, we're all going to be talking about the fact that he has proven to show good takedown defense. He's basically put to bed all the questions and all the claims of him not having an ability to do anything on the ground, saying he's a fish out of water. I myself have said those types of things. I expected Alex Pereira to get dominated on the ground if it were to get there. And after the first round, he made adjustments and he proved to be able to hang in there and get up to his feet. This is a complete MMA fighter, and he is the scariest he's ever looked right now. Not only is he massive, not only does he have really good cardio, not only does he have his chin back at 205, but he also out leg kicked one of the best leg kickers in history and can now grapple. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time.
What's up, guys? It's Lucas Tracy MMA, and I'm wondering if you're trying to look like Yoel Romero. Well, if you don't have his genetics, that's impossible, but I could at least help you get halfway there with my ultimate lifting program, and if you're a beginner, my novice lifting program. These are programs that I've used my 9 years of experience in the gym to make so that you can put on as much muscle as possible in as little amount of time as possible. And it'll also give you a variety of workouts so that you never get tired of the gym. So if you're interested, click the link in my description. And for a discount, use code MMA for 30% off.